It's time for another blistering report from the front lines of the cultural war for a constitutional America. And now, here's your host, Charles Benninghoff.
Well, who asked for a replacement of Obamacare? I didn't. Did you? I for sure know it wasn't me. And if you think about it, I'll bet you probably don't know anyone who sits around dreaming about a replacement for that epic failure known as Obamacare. The voters have been demanding the full repeal of Obamacare for 6 years now, not a replacement. They don't want a replacement. They want to get rid of it, the whole concept. They want it out of their lives. Yet if you turn on the TV, all the socialist talking heads are insisting that unless a replacement plan is in place simultaneously with a repeal, the sky will fall, it is going to hit us on the head, and an asteroid is going to hit us on Earth, and we're going to have a blackout for 5 years. All the dinosaurs are going to die. Of course, that means all the Democrats, and our world is going to be doomed. Well, doom and gloom won't result, regardless of what they tell us. And we have to replace one government healthcare scheme with another. Ha ha. Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't the talking heads who are insisting on an Obama replacement the same folks who predicted for a year and a half that Donald Trump's campaign was doomed to fail? Yes, they were. The track record that they have should tell you what their predictions are worth. We don't need them, and we don't need a replacement plan. In fact, I want to tell you today how Obamacare can be repealed and we can lower health care costs for everyone by massive amounts, and at the same time making health care available to everyone. And it requires no Obamacare replacement plan at all. Just listen up. We need your help to get Congress to do the right thing, and I'll let you know how you can take part in this historic effort. Just stay tuned. But first, let's give credit where credit's due. There are a few members of Congress who are already at least partly on the right page when it comes to this issue, and I'll explain to you what the full right page is, and I think I'm just about the only one preaching this. Well, those guys are saying that we should repeal Obamacare and not worry about replacing it with a new Republican plan that will be just as doomed to failure as Obamacare. They're right in that regard. One of them is Congressman Louis Gohmert of Texas, and here's what he had to say on repealing Obamacare on Fox News.
Everybody keeps talking about a replacement, and the fact is, if you eliminate Obamacare's mandates, and then you give freedom for entrepreneurs to come in and start coming up with great insurance policies, making sure we got reserve, making sure that people can have an insurance policy with better than a $6,000 or $8,000 deductible, massive copay, massive premiums. And what I've been assured of, even today multiple times, is by the end of the year, you're going to be able to buy new policies that have what you want in it, and not when some bureaucrat.
Congressman Gohmert is almost there, but he's only almost, not completely. Just one step further and his plan will be perfect. So let me tell you how to make Gohmert's plan perfect. Here's the issue with the medical costs in America. Despite everything that you believe about Obamacare, everything that you've been told, everything that you might have presumed, every state in the union is still allowed under current law to regulate medical services delivered, with who or what is allowed, and the cost that can be charged for delivering such services within a large degree. Every state has its own Department of Insurance, and each state is susceptible to being lobbied by one local insurance carrier or provider. The result is a series of virtual healthcare monopolies granted by every state government. And just as sure as the sun will rise tomorrow, each one of those little monopolies is a barrier to free trade, and each one of those barriers is an impediment to lowering costs. Now, these monopolies are relatively new in America. Not too many years ago, you could afford to go without health insurance, especially if you were younger. If you really had to go to a hospital for something, say a broken arm, or maybe you wanted to have a baby delivered, you're looking at $300 or $400. In fact, one of my friends just posted on Facebook her parents' bill for her delivery in the 1950s. The bill was $270 complete. But with state monopolies set up around the United States, and on top of that, a federal mandate requiring you to buy insurance, costs have skyrocketed beyond belief. Why? Because these laws give monopoly power to healthcare providers. The proliferation of ruling jurisdictions within states is the reason for sky-high healthcare costs. You know, even though Obamacare is in operation, every state can still sell its own insurance and regulate those who sell the insurance within that state. That's a fact. There are obviously federal healthcare insurance providers, all regulated by the federal government, but again, most of those go state by state. America has the highest medical care costs in the world, and this is not the fault of the medical profession. It's not the fault of the hospitals or the billing companies, or even the drug companies, as some like to claim. Our costs are high because states give monopolies on health care to providers like MDs, registered nurses, and health insurance companies. And those monopolies exist in, for example, if you are an insurance company that is perfectly legal to sell insurance for health purposes in Texas, you got to qualify in California and comply with all their falderall. And if you're in California and you want to go to Nevada, you got to do the same. All around the country, 50 times the difficulty of rendering insurance. And every time that you get a separate state to approve you, you're one of the club. You can't be competed with by outside companies. You're a big bad dude. And this is why the insurance costs are sky high. We have to strip from the states their ability to restrict from competition within that state any insurance company for health purposes that is licensed by another state. That's only fair. Our interstate commerce is exactly what the Constitution is supposed to protect, and that's what we have to get down to. You know, some might worry that health insurance companies would go broke if we take away their monopolies. But so what? Ha ha! Sayonara! Remember the horse and buggy manufacturers? How they complained about Henry Ford? Well, the free market won that argument, and you're probably happy you got a car and don't need to shovel all that horse manure. And don't forget, President Trump himself talked about getting rid of these artificially imposed monopolies during the Republican primaries. Here, take a look at this video and listen into this soundbite. Listen carefully.
When you get rid of the lines, it brings in competition. So instead of having one insurance company taking care of New York or Texas, you'll have many. They'll compete, and it'll be a beautiful thing.
The Constitution gives the legislative branch, Congress, the authority to regulate interstate commerce in Article 1, Section 8. Of course, that doesn't mean the states should be stripped of the powers to regulate the actions of MDs or nurses or hospitals licensed in their state. Someone has to be the doc cop. And some of these docs are really egregious, and they got to be disciplined. That is an activity that should not fall within the federal ambit. But every state must have the continuing right to license health insurance companies, but no state should have the right to exclude an insurance company licensed by another state. That's what happens now, and that's why we got these little mini monopolies. And all your insurance policies costs on a monthly basis are sky high. So Congress is not doing its duty by allowing every state to set itself up as a monopoly jurisdiction. This is interstate commerce. There's no reason, there's no justification whatsoever that a state should be able to exclude an insurance company from a different state. And if there ever was an industry that qualifies as interstate commerce, it's healthcare in the modern America. All medical processes and services and products and drugs and so forth rely on something from out of state. Nothing comes wholly within a state. Well, there may be a rare exception, glass of water probably, but it maybe just as well come from Colorado and be delivered to Nevada. So there you go. In other words, just like the 1880s, when old Dr. Jones on his horse and buggy may have well bled a patient, alleging it would cure the patient of evil humors. Well, Modern medicine is now applied in America, is bleeding all Americans of their life's blood in order to justify an antiquated, hugely overpriced, redundant, and monopolized health system. Repeal Obamacare and then pass a law rendering all state and local regulations of medical insurance licensed in another state to be null and void. In other words, a state cannot interfere with interstate commerce. In addition, declare that no state, county, or local jurisdiction can pass a law or regulation that impacts the delivery of such insurance. That's the way to do it. No Republican form of Obamacare replacement is required. Free enterprise is required. The free market will take care of this. All we have to do is throw off the shackles of socialism imposed on us by doctors and hospitals who wanted a monopoly in their little itty bitty area, and open up the markets so that competition can reign supreme. Then our prices will go down to the point where everyone will be able to afford insurance. And if, by golly, if there's somebody out there after a year of this process of winnowing out all the fat and all the excess regulation, well, we can take care of them then. We can do it by a straight payment. We don't have to have a multi-trillion healthcare system put out by the federal government. The federal government hasn't won a war since 1945. The federal government is not competent to do anything. Think about it. The one thing the government is supposed to do is defend our nation. They haven't been able to do it for almost 70 years. They can't defend anything. They can't even defend our borders. And they're going to protect our health? No way. No way whatsoever. You know, the Republican leadership in Congress that keeps talking about an Obama replacement plan is going to wreck the entire repeal effort if we don't get in front of it and tell them to stick to the original plan, which is to just repeal Obamacare. We need your help to carry this out. We need your voice added to thousands of others around the country. We need your help to send personalized letters directly to Congress, starting with the House Ways and Means Committee. You can do that from our action page. The message is simple. Repeal Obamacare and repeal the state-imposed monopolies on medical insurance purposes. You can do it. Just jump in and go forward. We already have a personalized letter written for you to use, or you can edit the letter on our action page to add your own comments. So do it now. Bob Mallory will tell you how to get to our action page on the next screen. This is Charles Benninghoff signing off and wishing you freedom, fulfillment, and God's many, many blessings.
Tell Congress to completely and totally repeal Obamacare. No replacement necessary, thank you very much. If you're on our action page on our website, use the form next to the video screen to select a program. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, click the icon appearing now to find the link to our action page, or check the video's description to find the link. Speak out today.